So this part of the podcast is from 17 to 26. So number 17 says use synthetic division to divide. When I do synthetic division, I'm going to use my coefficients and my divisor. But when we do synthetic division, we have to make sure that it's written in standard form and that there's no holes. So 6x cubed plus 2x squared minus 11x plus 12, that's in standard form and there's no holes. So I put the little box over here. This 3x plus 4, I think about it being equal to 0 and solving it, so I would get x to be negative 4/3. Then my coefficients are 6, 2, negative 11, and 12. I drop down the 6, and then I multiply and add. 6 times negative 4/3 is negative 8. 2 plus negative 8 is negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 4/3 is positive 8. Negative 11 plus 8 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 4/3 is positive 4. 12 plus 4 is 16. Then when we write our answer, this is the remainder. This is the constant. This is the linear term. This is the quadratic term. So 16 is going to go over the 3x plus 4, and it's plus that, then minus 3, then minus 6x, then 6x squared. And that's our final answer. So number 18, same kind of thing, but again, we have to write it in standard form. So number 18 is this. When I look at number 18, I see it's written in standard form, but I have a hole. I'm missing 0x squared. So when I write this one, I'm going to put a 1, and then 1, 2, 0, 1, and negative 3. You have to fill in that hole with a 0. Otherwise, you don't get the right answer. Drop down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1, plus 2 is 3, times 1 is 3, plus 0 is 3, times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, times 1 is 4, plus negative 3 is 1. And then to get our answer, 1 is the remainder, so 1 goes over x minus 1. 4 is the constant. 3 is the linear. 3 is the quadratic, and 1 is the cubic. So remainder, constant, linear, quadratic, cubic. Number 19, to find P of 3, we put 3 in the little box. Then I write 1, 1, negative 1, negative 2, and 0. We were missing a constant on number 19, so we have to put the 0 in that place. Drop down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, times 3 is 12, plus negative 1 is 11, times 3 is 33, plus negative 2 is 31, times 3 is 93, plus 0 is 93. Now, we weren't dividing here, we were just finding P of 3. So P of 3 is that 93, it's that remainder. So P of 3 equals 93 is your answer. Number 20, P of x equals 4 minus x to the 5th. In order to do synthetic division, that has to be in standard form, and we have to fill in the zeros. So it's negative x to the 5th plus 0x to the 4th plus 0x to the 3rd plus 0x squared plus 0, no, not plus 0, minus x plus 4. Then we were looking for P of 2, so it's 2, then negative 1, 0, 0, 0, negative 1, and 4. Drop down the negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, plus 0 is negative 2, times 2 is negative 4, plus 0 is negative 4, times 2 is negative 8, plus 0 is negative 8, times 2 is negative 16, plus negative 1 is negative 17, times 2 is negative 34, plus 4 is negative 30. So P of 2 equals negative 30. Number 21, we're solving by graphing. So in y1, we're going to put x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5. In y2, we're going to put 0. So y1, x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5, and in y2 I put 0. Then we go second trace, number 5. You have to let the graph go. You have to let it come up on the screen. Then I'm going to move my cursor so it's to the far left, so you can see it flashing, and I enter, enter, enter. And I get the point, negative 1, 0. That negative 1, 0 is a root solution, x-intercept, or 0. Then I do the process again, second trace, number 5, and I move my cursor to the next point where it crosses, which is right there. Enter, enter, enter. Now I get a decimal this time, so I'm going to write it to the nearest hundredth, so 1.380. Then do it a third time. Second trace, number 5, move it to the far right. Enter, 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 and I get 3.620. So those are root 0 solutions, x-intercepts. Number 22 is the same kind of problem, except I have to have it equal to 0. So I have to do some moving before I can put it in my calculator. So I'm going to move the x and the negative 3, because there's less of them there. So I'm going to put minus x plus 3, minus x plus 3. So I get 0 equals, and I'm going to write it in standard form at the same time, x cubed minus x squared minus x plus 7. If you moved the 4, the minus x squared, and the plus x3, then you have negative x cubed plus x squared plus x minus 7 equals 0. You'll get the same answers. Okay. So I'm going to go to y1, and I'm going to type in x cubed minus x squared minus x plus 7. And I'm going to go second trace, number 5, and let it graph. And when I do that, I move the cursor so it's close to that point, and then enter, 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 negative 1.780. Number 23, x cubed minus 8 equals 0. So we are factoring. This is difference of cubes, so it's a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b. Then a squared plus ab plus b squared. In order to use that formula, I have to figure out what a equals and what b equals. So a equals x, b equals 8. Or no, that's not right. b equals 2. Sorry, 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. When I plug into this, a minus b means x minus 2. A squared, whatever a is, you have to square it. So that means x times x. X times x is x squared plus a times b, so x times 2, plus b squared, so plus 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. Then I take this and I do x minus 2 equals 0, so x equals 2. Now this quadratic part, the x squared plus 2x plus 4, I have to do quadratic formula. So negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 all over 2a, so 2 times 1. Then when I do that, I get negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 12 over 2. The square root of negative 12, I can't leave that. Negative 12 is negative 1 and 12, which means there's going to be an I. 12 is 4 and 3, so 2i square root of 3. Now I'm going to separate this into negative 2 over 2 plus or minus 2i square root of 3 all over 2. And then I reduce. Negative 2 over 2 is negative 1, plus or minus 2 over 2 is 1, so I square root of 3. And both of those things are your answers. So number 24, 8x cubed plus 1 equals 0. So this one, a cubed plus b cubed equals a plus b, then a squared minus ab plus b squared. So 8x cubed means that a equals 2x, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and x times x times x is x cubed. That 1 means that b equals 1. Then when I plug in a plus b means 2x plus 1. A squared, a is 2x, so you have to do 2x times 2x. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Minus ab means minus 2x plus b is 1, so 1 squared is 1. Then 2x plus 1 equals 0, so x equals negative 1/2, because minus 1 and then divide by 2. Over here, quadratic formula, you get 2 plus or minus the square root so you get 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 12 again, all over 8. Well, we just did square root of negative 12, but that makes negative 1 and 12. So I, and then 4 and 3, so 2 square roots of 3. So it's 2 over 8 plus or minus 2i square root of 3 all over 8. Well, 2 over 8 reduces to 1/4 plus or minus I square root of 3 all over 4. And again, both of those parts are your answers. Number 25, x to the 4th minus 8x squared plus 15 equals 0. So we're going to do my father drives a red Mustang. That works when it's x to the 4th and x squared and a constant. So 1 times 15 is 15. Two numbers that multiply to 15 and add up to negative 8 have to be negative 3 and negative 5. Then you divide by 1, but I'm really dividing by 1x squared because I take that x to the 4th and I split it in half into x squared and x squared. Then you read from the bottom up. X squared minus 3 equals 0. X squared minus 5 equals 0. To solve that, you're going to add 3. So x squared equals 3. Square root and square root. The square root, when you take the square root of 3 over here, you can't break it down, so it's positive and negative square root of 3. You have to have that positive and negative. Over here, plus 5 plus 5, x squared equals 5. So x equals square root, positive and negative square root of 5. Again, you have to have that positive and negative. Number 26. When you look at number 26, 5x to the 4th minus 50x squared plus 80 equals 0. First thing you should notice is that there's a GCF. So 5, then x to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 16 equals 0. And we can divide by that 5. And then my father drives a red Mustang. Two numbers that multiply to 16 add up to negative 10 are negative 8 and negative 2. We divide by x squared again. So it's x squared minus 8 equals 0, x squared minus 2 equals 0. Add the 8, so you get x squared equals 8, square root and square root. When you square root the 8, it's 4 and 2. So x equals positive and negative 2 square roots of 2. Over here, add 2, x squared equals 2, so x equals positive and negative square root of 2. So the video for 1 through 16 was posted before this, so you can see all of the questions on this whole review. So study and make sure you know your vocabulary.